Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Thank you for joining us once again on this lesson about pentatonic scales. This is the third of our 4 lessons on pentatonic scales. There's such an important part of guitar playing and learning these skills of what these pentatonic scales are. Today we're going to talk about adding one note to these pentatonic scales to make them start to sound bluesy. So by adding one note to these pentatonic scales, you can get this blues sound. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Now, there's a PDF that goes along with this. The link is in the YouTube description down below. It's all free, and it'll have the references and all the tab and everything that we're talking about tonight. So take a look at the first couple lessons. We're on the first 7 pages of this. Now we're going to look at page 8 of that PDF. So go ahead and pause it if you need to, and go ahead and get that out in front of you. And let's take a look at what we're talking about here. All right. There, in this big world of ours, there's a thing called a blues scale. Okay, which involves certain notes that are called blues notes. Okay, remember this is all derived from a major scale. So if I was in C, a C major scale would be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. You know, this would be the 1, this would be the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it repeats after that, okay? So it's a major scale. So the pentatonics that we've been talking about take 5 of those tones and create a pentatonic scale. But there's another little way that we can adjust this scale, and we're going to add some of these blues notes to this major scale. So we're going to get to pentatonics in just a second. Let's talk about this blues scale first. So what is a blues scale? It's going to add 3 tones. The third, which is already in there, but we're going to flat the third. The second tone is the 5th, and we're going to flat the 5th. And then the last one is the 7th. We're going to substitute that one. So instead of our normal 7th in a major scale, we're going to flat that one. So 2 of them, I'm adding notes, the flatted 3rd and the flatted 5th. And in the 7th step, I'm going to adjust that one to be a flatted 7th. Okay, so we end up with this second scale that you see there on page 8, which is a C, D, E flat, E, so both the flatted 3rd and the 3rd are in there, 4th, F, G flat, the flatted 5th, G natural, A, B flat, C. So let me just play that again. A lot of notes in there. What matters? Well, what makes the blues is these 3 tones, which are they're called the blues notes. The flatted 3rd, if I'm in C, the flatted 3rd, the flatted 7th, and then the flatted, the most bluesy of them all, the flatted 5th. Now that one is so tense that we really don't land on that one. We just kind of slide around it. See, I'm just kind of sliding around on it. I don't want to just hit it. It's too tense. So that flatted 5th, I'm just going to add it, but I just kind of season it to taste there. Okay, so those are 3 notes that we're adding to our major scale, and that creates this blues scale. And the most important parts of the blues scale are a certain combination of notes, and that's where we're going to get back to our pentatonic scale. So take a look at the bottom of page 8. So if I'm in the key of C, and I take just the important notes, which are a C, an E flat, an F, a G, and a B flat. Well, that is a C minor pentatonic. C minor pentatonic scale. C, E flat, F, G, B flat. Hey, well, I already know that scale. Hey, that's a C minor pentatonic scale. I can do that all day long. So if I have my little C minor groove, So I might have a groove as C minor. I can play my C minor pentatonic scale. So that works, but we're gonna, so what do we have there? We have the 1, the E flat, the flatted 3rd, we've got the 4th, we've got the 5th, we've got the flatted 7th. The only important blues note that we haven't added yet to this combination is our flatted 5th. So with a minor pentatonic scale, all I have to do is add 1 note to the minor pentatonic scale. There's that flatted 5th. There it is again. And I've got all the important notes of a blues scale. I've got almost everything you would need for a blues scale in a form that I already know, which is a pentatonic form, but I'm just going to add 1 note to it. So take a look at the top of page 9. Up on that top line, you have the 1, the flat 3, the 4, the flat 5, the 5, and the flatted 7. So I have all of the important tones in a scale that I already know. I just have to add 1 note to it, okay? And that shape, I just wrote it out for you there at the top line there, off to the right side. I put the little diamonded notes. That's our new note that we're adding. That's that flatted 5th. So you end up with a scale that sounds like this. There's that flatted 5th. There's that flatted 5th. So can you hear the difference? How that suddenly kind of makes it bluesy. So it really gives that bluesy sound. Now I can play that flatted 5th. I can slide from that flatted 5th. I can maybe even bend up to it or bend down from it. Really gives it that bluesy sound by adding just that flatted 5th. Well, there are 5 pentatonic forms. Remember we learned about the 5 pentatonic forms? So if I add this 1 extra note to these 5 pentatonic forms, I get the forms that we have done before with this extra note in there. Again, I have that extra note in the as a diamond in the thing. All right, so take a look at page 9. We finally have gotten to the pentatonic forms with the blues notes. So there you go. That's kind of the explanation of it. Let's get down into these forms and really learn them. So we've been kind of, as we've been preparing all this sort of stuff, we've been in, I've given you the forms in A minor and C major, so that's what I'm going to do again. So let's back that up. And so we're going to be, these forms here are shown in A minor or C major. A minor or C major. Now let me just before we get into the forms, let me just address this question, this important question too. So I've got this collection of notes. Now remember, I can look at that from the perspective of a major. In this case, it would be a C major, and then, or A minor. So if I look at it from an A minor, that's kind of where the blues scale derivative is. We have, if I look at it from the key of A, that would be the 1, the flat 3, the 4, the flat 5, the 5, the flat 7th. And so that's where that minor pentatonic, which is also, we're going to be saying that's our blues scale. Now, but Steve, can't you look at it from a major perspective as well? What if I looked at those same collection of notes in the key of C major? Well, hey, yeah, it works that way too. So if I look at it from the perspective of C major, then C would be 1, D would be 2, the E flat would be a flatted 3rd, still a blues note, although not quite as tense as the flatted 5th. The E would be a 3rd, the G would be the 5th, the A would be the 6th. So it ends up being a C scale with a little bit of one little hint of a bluesy note in there. So it doesn't quite sound as bluesy as when I think of it in the perspective of an A. So, Steve, you've got 2 ways you can look at this. Yes, 2 ways of looking at the same thing, a same collection of notes. It's great. It may sound confusing right now. You'll eventually see you get 2 for the price of 1. You only have to learn these forms, and then I can use them in 2 different scenarios. So let's take a look at these forms and get them underneath our fingers. Take a look at that first form. So we're going to think of these in the key of A minor. So up here at the 5th fret, we're just going to look at the open circle. That's going to be our minor root like we've done before. Second finger here. First finger. Third finger. First finger. Third finger. Pinky, catching that new note there. And then 1, 4, 1, 4, just like we've done before. Let's do it again. 1, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. And first and third finger. First and third finger and fourth finger. If I went down in reverse. So it's going to take a little bit of practice to get those underneath your fingers to figure out, you know, kind of where to add this new note there. But so how would I practice that? Just like you practice anything else. Go slow. Get them underneath your fingers to where you can play it correctly. There you go. Okay. Now that's in the key of A minor, which is, if I was playing an A blues, I would probably be playing that. If I wanted to play in B flat, I would shift the same thing up and play it a half step up. And the note with the secret sauce on it is that new note, that pinky note on the 3rd string. Now remember, I can play it or slide off from it. I can bend around to it. Let's get back to A where we started. Starting on that 3rd finger and then bending up a little bit. Bending up and back. Okay, when you're bending, you want to try and bend to a pitch. You don't want to just bend somewhere up there. That's kind of what inexperienced players do. You want to try and bend to a pitch. There's the pitch I'm trying to bend to. That's bending all the way up to the 5th, and I can work my way down. Oh man, some great blues sort of sounds in that. Okay, so that's the first form. That's the first one you want to get underneath your fingers. Take a look at the next one. Let's just go through these next couple of forms really quickly. So if I start here, which would be in the key of A, the flat and 3rd, and I add my new note here, I end up with this. This is probably the most complicated of these forms. I have to stretch out with my pinky, then 1st, 4th, 1st, 4th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd finger, 2nd, 4th, 2nd, 4th, and then slide out for that E flat with that pinky. Steve, do I really need to learn all these forms? Gosh, it's just too much work to learn all this sort of stuff. Well, do you have to learn it? No. Is this what people who do this seriously, do they know these shapes? Yeah. Do they know what notes they are? That may or may not be. They may just know the shape of it. But you gotta know the shape. If you want to go the extra mile, learn actually the notes. Say the notes as you're playing them. C, D, E flat, E, G, A, C, D, E flat, E, G, A, C, D, E flat, and say them and play them all the way up. A lot of times folks get up here to the dusty part of the neck up here and they just don't know the notes. How can I know the notes? You have to work at it and practice at it. I saw an interview with Steve Vai, or was it Joe Satriani? It was a story about the two of them. I think it was Steve Vai. And he said he was taking a lesson from Joe Satriani way back in the beginning. And he said, first thing you need to know before I can teach you anything, you need to know the notes in your neck. And so he goes home and practices all that sort of, thinks he's really got it down. He knows what this note is and does it all right. Goes back to the next lesson, and the guy says, okay, play me an F sharp on the second string. And he kind of hums around, said, you don't know your notes in the neck, go home. And learning the notes in the neck is the basis. It's kind of like learning your alphabet. You need to know what the letters mean. So it's important that you know the notes in your neck. Take a look at this second form. All right, so this is C. So now we're gonna play this. First, second, third, second, fourth, and we slide up. Hey, take a look at the third form. Okay, now here, since I'm basically doing 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, I might have my first finger and do this rather than my second, but either way is fine. First, second, that's the new note. There's the third finger, and then first, third, pinky, and then I have to stretch back with my first finger to catch this note there. So it's a little bit different. You have to kind of figure out how to finger that one. That's an odd one. I tend to do it 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 4. Go back a position, go 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3. I tend to do that. Coming down, you may have to adjust fingers here and there. All right, so there you go. The fourth one, I'm way up here at the 12th fret. 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, remember how we can keep going up, or we can flip it down here for that last fifth form. And again, here I would start my second finger, fourth finger, second finger, fourth, and then 1, 4, 1, 4, 2, 3, 4. And there you go. So if I was playing a blues. From there. Now, I'm familiar with that shape, but I'm also familiar with these other shapes. I just watched a fantastic lesson on thinking of these pentatonics instead of always thinking them up, thinking them down. And you end up with different combinations. So if I do the same blues in A, sorry. There you go. And so work on those, adding that blues note to these other shapes that we have talked about. I know it's easy for me to explain it here in just a couple of minutes. It takes a lot longer to actually get them underneath your fingers. But get used to playing these notes in these other positions as well, because there's certain licks. Here's this lick here. Well, that lick just doesn't exist in these other forms. It's just kind of a... I mean, you can kind of maybe do a... But here, I wouldn't even know where to begin. So certain notes have different places, licks have different places that they work best in. If you can find licks in these 5 different forms, break you out of the pentatonic box that a lot of players get stuck in. Now, we're going to have a workout next time to really get these underneath your fingers, so we'll go through some different patterns and things like that as well. There you go. There's the information. It's up to you to make it come to life into music. Now, it's not just the forms. Get beyond playing the forms. You want to make the music with it. Okay, man, you just listen to any Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff. Pretty much all that he's playing, about 80% of it fits into this pentatonic box. He's just adding his Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff. Doing all the Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff, but it's basically the notes in that first pentatonic box. So think beyond the notes. Try and make some music with it. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Keep up the great work, and we'll see you guys in the workout.